This card's insane. This card's really good.
Nuts to butts.
What is good, homies? This is Chris from Small Hat Crew, joined today by Small Hat Nick.
Hello.
Small Hat Manny.
Yeah, guys.
And once again, Small Hat Brandon has made his return.
Thank you. Save the best for last. I like what you did there, Chris.
That's what we'll be doing with the leaders as well. Let's go ahead and get right into it, starting with Law, Green Yellow Leader, 5,000 power / 4 life, Heart Pirate, Supernova, Stress Rosa, Dawn ×1, activate main once per turn. If the total cost of your characters is 5 or more, you can return one of your characters to the hand, reveal the top of your life, and if that card is a Supernova type character with a cost of 5 or less, you can play it. First impressions?
Overwhelmingly mid.
I do like that they learned their lesson from Red Green Law. This one has this one looks like it needs a lot more setup, so I'm okay with it that way. Doesn't look too overwhelming at first glance.
Oh, I thought you meant like they learned their lesson and like they should loosen the restrictions. Red Green Law's ass now.
Now, but when that shit came out, like,
yeah. I don't know. I think the fact that is not able to exist in current One Piece, I think is. I don't think it should be any stricter than it already is, considering not even that can thrive.
Right.
You know, so I think that's where they kind of dropped the ball, if I'm being honest.
See, so when I first read this card, and it sucks because I felt like I was on the highest high, and then I entered the lowest low in literally 2 seconds. Because I thought at first, I thought it was you put a 5 or more into life, and then you get reveal the top life if it's a 5 or less, you could play it. I thought, I was like, oh, that's dope. Then like you could like swing and start doing like cheeky stuff where it's like, oh, I'll play Supernovas that have triggers, and I thought they were going to make like Supernova triggers, but when I realized it's like, oh, I gotta bounce one in the hand and then I still lose a life. Yeah. Essentially, it's like I might as well be playing Kagura at this point, where it's like, okay, I'll make at least with Kagura, I know exactly what's coming out. I don't have to play Guess Who to see if like, you know, like did I lose a life and I got the worst target I could possibly get, or even worse, I bounced to whiff.
Well, I don't. Okay.
I don't think you're ever gonna blind by this leader.
I'm just saying, bro.
That's crazy. So, blind fire, throw the 5 cost to your hand, whiff.
So, my thing with it, is, and what I was saying with like Red Green Law, right? Like at its peak, you would be able to KO like 3 characters on your opponent's board, if you're against the Red Green Law, and then the next turn they'd still be able to fill up their whole board and do their leader ability and basically get a whole new board. This leader seems like late game, like it'll start popping off mid game, depending on its, you know, what support it gets, but late game, like when I clear your board, it just seems like you don't have a leader ability at that point. You know what I mean?
I have a few problems with this leader. And I mean, we've only seen so much yellow Supernova support. A big part of the reason this video even took so long to come out was because I wanted to see yellow Supernova support before even attempting to talk on these guys. Because the law is fucking impossible to speak on, just at face value. At face value, he's terrible, so I would want to see cards, but... So one of my big problems with him is, one, there's the whole thing, he's a 4 life leader. Does his ability warrant giving up that life? The ability has a pretty steep condition on it. You have to have a 5 cost character on the board, so that means you
well, technically not 1 5 cost total value of 5 or more. Like you could have a 2 and a 3.
Well, that is true, but so regardless, it still works out the same, where it's your leader ability. The earliest it is live is, I guess it could be live turn 2 if you play like a 2 cost and a 4 cost.
If you go second, yeah.
Yeah.
2 cost and a 3 cost because you need 1 for leader ability.
Oh yeah, but 2 cost and a 3. Yeah.
You had to basically get a perfect. Now.
God. So here,
I will say. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So one, the leader ability takes setup. there's no way you're just fucking blind
Yes.
firing this. So you have to commit Dawn to figuring out what's in your life. I guess maybe they give him something that like reveals the what the life is, and then I guess he bounces that to hit. It has to be a 5 or more that he bounces. Is that right? Wait a second.
No, he
No,
doesn't
just
have,
any
you
character.
have to have 5
So
costs.
maybe-
And
You
that's
could
what I'm saying.
play
He
something.
does have going for him. He can bounce searchers back to his hand, which is nice.
I think the fact that so like he could play something, reveal what the top card is, and if it's Supernova, you know, he could bounce whatever revealed, and he'll have access to leader ability again on the following turn and every turn after that, assuming he keeps doing that. So maybe it's not the worst setup, because I guess you just have to get it live once, and then you're set for the rest of the game as long as you don't pitch it for counter or something.
Iori goes hard as fuck in this deck.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah, bounce her back to hand after getting your top life, putting what card you want to summon. So honestly, I the more we talk about it, I am seeing like some potential with it. I still don't think that it's gonna be the leader of the set. I think it'll be fun to play with. It's gonna have some cool plays. I don't think it'll be the leader of the set though.
You know what you could do though that I realized? You could do Hiyori, putting the green 5-drop lull there, then use effect to play the 5-drop green lull that bounces blocker to bounce the Hiyori back to then play something else.
Well, the leader bounces the Hiyori.
Yeah, the leader just
Yeah.
puts the Hiyori back in your hand.
Oh, true. Well,
But
I
I mean, still like 5-drop law stuff like that is still gonna be good in this deck. So,
yeah.
but still, it's limited to 5-drops, and
Yeah, like you can't even cheat out Hawkins out of life with this. Like I don't know why.
right,
Like 6 or less for real.
yeah.
well, at least you get
Can you not?
Cavendish at least. God forbid.
No,
No,
he-
he's a
Is
6
Hawkins a
drop.
4 cost?
Hawkins.
No,
I'm
he's a
talking about
6.
Green Hawkins. Green
Oh,
6/7.
Green Hawkins, gotcha. Okay.
That would have been nice at least.
You know, yeah, I had, you know, new good cards in mind. I don't know. I'm not too like I don't know. This leader doesn't strike me as too crazy. I guess only time will tell, but I'm not too ecstatic for him. I think he takes setup, and like with Red Green Law, like I don't know, just having access to the cards in your hand and stuff like that, you know, the targets you cheated off your leader ability. You had they were multi-purpose because either you could cheat it off leader ability or you could hard play it or something like that. Whereas the only way a target for his leader ability is multi-purpose is if you're literally like using a Hiyori to try to facilitate that, and that puts you in one of those situations where like you're banking on seeing specific starters to even attempt to use a leader ability. Like there will be games where maybe you just don't find a Hiyori or another starter for like the first 4-ish turns of the game. I've played Gecko Moria games where I haven't seen a Thriller Bark for the first 5 turns of the game, you know, and that's like there's like 20 plus. So
Yeah.
True.
and I'm doing that on a 5 life leader that, you know, so I don't know. I guess we'll see, but I'm
He's
I'm
not bad.
a
Like he's not bad. I also feel we don't have a lot of cards that suit him, as an individual. Or maybe it's gonna be kind of like the yellow black Luffy leader, where it's like all of us are like, you know, like oh, like he's alright, but he's not great. And then there's the one guy that's like, how about I play Gecko in this dude? And then it just puts the whole leader on a whole different spectrum. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a big part of it too
Yeah, but this
is
leader
like
doesn't have access to Gecko.
Huh?
Yeah, but this leader doesn't have access to Gecko.
Yeah, but we also didn't think about Gecko and Black Yellow Luffy until someone did it, and then we're like, oh yeah, that is the truth. That's the gospel.
I do think one of the things that, like, one of the things that makes it really hard to compare him to Red Green Law is because they're both cheating out like 5-cost bodies, but Red Green Law is able to cheat out like because he has access to red. He can cheat out
Like,
rushers like Luffy.
And he's not losing life in the process of doing it. Like this. You have to take a card from your life and put it on the board.
On a 4-life leader is the biggest part about it too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure there's like high roll interactions and synergies that do exist for him.
This ain't it.
Yeah.
This ain't a chief.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I look at the other 4 left leaders that have thrived in the past, and I feel like all of them, there's never really been any question as to how good they would. Like Sakazuki was obviously gonna be good, right? Red Green Law was obviously overtuned for his set. And that was obviously good on release. Like, I don't think there's ever been a 4-life leader where there's been any doubt as to whether or not they would succeed, because their leader abilities were just inherently strong at face value, even without support revealed.
So we all overestimated Vivi a little bit.
Vivi's 5.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Guardians. Get him.
Yeah,
Put him in his place, Chris. Drop him.
I don't think we've had a 4-life leader that like ended up being top tier. That just it wasn't immediately obvious they're going to be top tier. And this one doesn't strike me as it. Maybe he could be the exception, because there's always exceptions every now and then. But yeah, I don't know.
I think this leader's kind of dead on arrival unless we get like insane no support.
It also sucks too, because like on top of it all, his leader ability has a cost. It actually you actually have to put a Dawn on him. You have to actually allocate one of your Dawn to your leader ability, whereas 4-life leaders
in this deck, he restands Dawn.
I guess, but I don't know. Either way, 4-life leaders recently, their abilities have been free. That's what it's taken to put them in the meta. So
yeah. I mean, look at Usopp.
Powerful.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we'll look at cards intended for him. So the next card we'll be looking at would be.
I'll make the weak don't get to choose how they die.
It has his face on it. Fuck it.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Okay. Next card. The weak don't get to choose how they die. Green event, Punk Hazard, Supernovas, Heart Pirates, main and counter. KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less. I don't know what this is doing for the leader, but I don't think this card sees play. I think this is a very expensive event.
Well, I like that it's on counter. You can KO the thing that's attacking you, but
yeah,
this is like a green-purple Dofi, and they already have a card like that.
That's what I was gonna say.
Doesn't really see play anyways, so I don't like it.
Saving up 5 is ridiculous.
5 for a card that doesn't leave a body in its place. I understand it removes a body, but it doesn't like.
You're asking me to skip my whole turn to make this card available.
That's good. Literally. Turn 3, so you can't even use this card till turn 3, so it's dead at the second turn of the game. The third turn of the game, it would be your entire turn. The fourth turn of the game, it's the majority of your Dawn. And the fifth turn of the game, this is half your Dawn dedicated to this. Like, I can't think of any point in the game where I want to have to do this. And the worst part about this is too, is like I was saying, like, third turn, it's all your Dawn. Fourth turn, it's most of your Dawn. Fifth turn, depending on matchups, the card probably will never hit anything ever again, because a lot of decks, once they hit that amount of Dawn, they're only dropping 8 and higher for the rest of the game. So like,
shit, this can't even kill a Jack.
My problem with it is the fact that on 4 and 5 Dawn are the first turns that you can drop a solid body on board for most decks. 4 cost is when bodies start to become scary. 5 cost is when bodies they make it so you have to discard 2 cards to not take a life from them, right? Like 7k swings. So you're telling me to skip that whole turn to KO something that my opponent played on the last turn, basically. That's just fucking terrible.
Yeah. No, this is really bad. This is because even if
it gets
like,
worse and worse the more you think about it.
Yeah.
Best case scenario is like, I guess if you're going second, you have 6 Dawn on your third turn, so you could do like a 6k swing with your leader, and then the other 5 Dawn is being spent on you removing a 5 cost body your opponent removed. So the best case scenario of this card is it breaks even. The best case scenario is this card breaking even.
Out of 100 something cards in a set, they can't all be bangers. That's kind of all it is.
True. That is true.
Yeah, that's just it.
Yeah, it's pack filler.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking
so
of
moving
bulk,
on.
Capone Gang Bege. I was saying, speaking of bulk, there's Capone Gang Bege.
Is he bulk? Wait, I thought he was good. Wait.
He's a
yellow character.
a 2k.
1 cost, 0 power. He is in fact a 2k. Supernova Fire Tank Pirates. On play, you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. Add up to 1 character with the type Supernova from your hand to the top of your life cards face up. So it's another Hiyori.
Oh, he's a 1 cost Hiyori. However, again, if Law's ability reads as it's translated, where you have to reveal the life card in order to be able to play it, him putting a card face up in your life means, hey, I can't play this card.
Oh, it was
But I
revealed
think
before
this
like a
card
semi.
being revealed,
It's
I
fan
think,
translations, we don't know yet.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that like with this card reading the way it does, it's almost like, so there's a difference between revealing the card, because you can reveal a card if it's face up, and a difference between flipping a card face up, from face
Well,
down
I
to
don't
face
think
up.
you
You
can
can't
reveal
do
a card
that if
that's
it's
face
already
up.
face up.
Because,
I
for
think you
example, I think
technically
if you
can.
could, then yellow purple pudding wouldn't really have a cost to her leader ability.
Hold on, let me look at pudding real quick. You might be correct. No, hold on. You might be correct. You might be.
Okay.
Let me read how pudding reads.
No,
Hold on.
take your time. It's fine.
He's reading.
You may because pudding says you may turn the top 2 life cards of your life face up. You can't
Interesting.
turn something face up that's already face up, but you can reveal something that's already in plain sight. There hasn't been wording like this yet, and my understanding of it, I think this card is a perfect example saying like, yes, you can just reveal something that's already face up. But we'll just have to wait and
We'll
see.
see.
But I'm pretty sure you
Yeah.
will be able to.
I imagine just with
That's
the fact that this Capone exists, I can't imagine them there's been such a glaring oversight. I imagine it has to work like that. So
Well,
I
we
mean,
know Bandai doesn't play test their own cards.
That is
or-
true.
for me, working under the assumption that Capone does set up your leader ability, because I think that's what he's clearly intended to do. With
Yeah.
him. Yeah. This is a very good card for Law. It's probably it's one of those things too.
But
Though,
it's
like a card can be good, but like Koala 2K, she's literally Gordon on it, but she's a 2K counter body. A really good 2K for a very mid leader, which gets a lot better actually, and OP10, I believe. But
It's an archetype at least, and it costs 1 less than the Hiyori does. So I mean, you
Yeah.
can run 4 Hiyori or 8 Hiyoris if you really want to.
I wonder if they'll give Yellow a Supernova searcher that's like all 1 cost to on play, so they don't have to like spend 2 Dawn on Bonnie looking for stuff.
I could see it. I mean, they're gonna have to, considering Kid is a mono yellow leader.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true. They could also just make it like a yellow event or something, which would be kind of cringe. But if they make it a body, at least it'd be another body that Law could put toward his fulfilling his condition for his leader ability. So I mean, it looks like there's something. So they're designing with Law in mind. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what else they make that is intended for him, because simply other cards being yellow and Supernova is not enough to salvage a leader ability like that one. You know, giving him targets to play isn't really enough to warrant. What is that, Brandon?
I don't know about you guys, but like the first time I looked at the Law leader, without zooming in on it, I thought the heart in his hand was a glowing, like his fist, and it was glowing, and I'm like, he looks stupid as fuck.
I'll be
I don't know if
honest.
you guys had that same thing.
No, so I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what I
I
thought the thing
recognize it
is.
as the heart from. It's the heart from Punk Hazard.
Yeah,
It
Yeah.
took
It's
me a
Caesar's
minute,
heart.
but
Yeah.
I did realize after like zooming in.
So I never really thought to process what he was holding in his hand. It wasn't until we sat down and started this call that I looked at it and I realized what it was.
Yeah.
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 At first glance, it just looks like a terribly drawn fist to me, and I'm like, ew. I don't like it. But
All right.
Yeah.
So moving on.
All right, let's go on to our
Moving
last
on.
leader. The last leader of
The-
OP10.
Yes, we have our 6th leader. This one I am feeling a lot better about. I think this is, if one of these 2 leaders is to pop off, I'm thinking it's probably this guy. We have
agreed.
100%.
Eustass Captain Kid, yellow leader. Supernova Kid Pirates. End of your turn. You may turn the top card of your life face up. Set up to one of your 3 to 8 cost characters. With the Supernova type active, that character gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. This card's insane. This card's
No,
really, really
He's
good.
kinda Nuts,
Yeah.
nuts to butts.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
what's extremely nutty about him is the fact that you're gonna force your opponent to play into your on KO effects.
that's really strong. This is also like because it's like the fact that like his leader ability, the cost is it's essentially free, which is one thing I think they messed up with like yellow green law. Like, you don't have to dedicate any Dawn to doing this. He just does it. So long as there is a face down card to reveal, Wait. What does he say? Does he say to? He just says turn it face up. So he does turn it face up. So I guess he wouldn't have the wall thing. So as long as there is a face down card in life, you are getting the leader ability. It doesn't cost anything. No resources are dedicated to that or anything like that. And not only that, he is a 5-life leader that pretty much is the entire game playing with a blocker on board. So he's already, with him being 5-life, he's already a bulkier leader by default. And just with him having access to blockers every single time, like he never has to run a blocker. He doesn't have to dedicate space in his deck to a blocker or anything like that. He will be tankier, and he just always has a blocker. That will inherently win some matchups. Just like Katakuri, for example, there are matchups that just lose to a blocker being on the board, and he can have that whenever he wants.
Yeah.
That's really good. And not to mention too, maybe you still run actual blockers because it's very easy. There's a lot of scenarios you can put your opponent in where it's like, I have 2 blockers on board, you can't kill me, I'll kill you next turn. He only ever needs to have one real blocker on the board. He'll always just make the second.
Get access to the new 5-cost Katakuri blocker with starter decks.
Yep.
This deck can also run the 5-cost 6k Luffy that trashes the life to gain 8k power. So if you turn it 8k, somehow heal a life, then you get to flip a life, make that 8k into a blocker.
Yes, it is important to note right now, before the new set, the only yellow Supernova is the 5-drop 6k Luffy that goes up to 8k. Great card.
There's the Bonnie.
As of right now, that Bonnie's not printed yet.
Oh.
I guess the only thing that could ever prevent him from being as good as expect him to be is if he doesn't get bodies,
good support,
to warrant. But I don't know. I think
the bodies that we're about to see already make him really fucking good.
Yeah.
What makes me upset is I'm excited for this leader, and it made me think about it. Like, we don't get these cards for 2 sets. So what happens is, I don't know about anyone else, but like, I'll be super hyped for this leader, for example, but by the time it comes out, I'll be super hyped for a leader that comes out 2 sets from now. So
that's always the case.
It pisses me off, man, because like every set I go to start, like I was super hyped for one of the leaders this set. I don't even freaking remember. Now I'm super hyped for Blackbeard, and now I'm super hyped for Kid. So I'm like, dang, do I even want to build a whole Blackbeard deck? I don't know. Little mini rant, I guess. I hate being 2 sets behind.
No,
I really wish they'd put us on a global release.
Agreed.
So moving on to the first body for Kid, we have Eustass Captain Kid, yellow character, 8 cost, 9,000 power, Supernova Kid Pirates. On play, you may rest this character. Trash up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life. End of your turn. If your opponent has 2 or less life cards, draw 1 card and discard 1 card from your hand. This card is insane. Oh my god.
I just realized it's not even leader locked. Oh my god.
I thought you already knew that when you were talking about Wallow Queen.
Oh no, I said Brandon was gonna bring up Wallow Queen and then.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Queen because it wasn't leader locked.
I didn't realize it wasn't leader locked.
Insane in Queen. What the fuck?
This is now. Brandon doesn't even play a new deck. He just goes back to Queen.
Honestly,
no, he says that every set.
This card's insane though. Well, but I do end up going to Queen in every set. I end up playing around with it a bit. But this card's awesome because 1, it has like a half a Big Mom effect for a turn less. Plus the draw 1, discard 1 is a very strong effect. We saw that with the one, even though it's barely played because the deck itself isn't that great, the 8-drop purple croc, very strong effect with the draw 1, discard 1 every turn. But also, this just becomes a blocker right away in the Kid deck. This card's insane.
I think that's what makes him really strong.
Well, not right away, because it has to, because only the card that's rested that makes active becomes blocker.
Well, this rests itself on play. So
true, you're right.
He's gonna make it activate. That's the reason it rests itself on play.
He basically also has. Go for it.
I was just say it's so ridiculous, these effects. It's just like, hey, trash your opponent's life. Like, at least reject you took the card from your life to your hand.
I agree. I don't
they
like.
Should just say your opponent adds the card from the top of your life to their hand. Like,
I agree because it's almost like a stronger banish effect, and it's kind of annoying.
I was gonna say this card basically kind of says rush unblockable and opponent can't counter. Like the turn he comes out, he is taking a life off the opponent, and every single turn after he can.
You don't get the card.
Yeah.
The leader doesn't need Dawn to activate. You're pretty much going to want to try and go even. Play this on 8 and then play another one on 10. You're going to have plenty of blocker space like this. I don't know, man. This is even nuts.
Oh my god. This is a really good card.
I think he's it in the kid deck. I think he's severely overtuned.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what makes you want to play him in kid. I think this is something they should try out with more cards later, and I'm excited for it, where it's kind of like, yeah, these are these boss cards, but it kind of forces you to play a certain leader. You can't just throw them into everything.
Yeah, I
I will
do.
throw this card into every yellow deck.
Really?
No.
Like,
I
there's
really-
literally no reason not to.
Yeah.
One thing I really like about this card, one thing I really like about the design for this card specifically with Yellow Kid as a leader, is that he is essentially paying homage to starter deck Kid blocker. He is a giant body that swings and restands at the end of the turn, and then it's just a blocker. He is.
I feel.
Mhm.
I feel like the whole Yellow Kid, like as a leader, is almost playing homage to like the 8-drop Kid. With the whole, like, I love that they're keeping the whole magnetism. Obviously, it's his leader ability or his devil fruit, but like I feel like they're doing it very well and keeping it that way.
I find him being able to give magnetism to other things very strange. Or actually, no, never mind. Later on, that does become.
Yeah, he did it to yeah,
Yeah,
spoilers,
yeah,
but
exactly. That's what I know. You're right. So no,
Yeah,
never
like,
mind. That
wait a
is very
minute.
in line with his leader ability. Never mind.
Yeah,
that is
absolutely.
good. That is good. I was taking issue with that before, but now that I remember, that's actually not a problem.
What I really like about this card, to be honest, like the more that I think about it, in base yellow decks, right now, yellow lacks a very good 8-drop. Katakuri, don't get me wrong, but it's like the only option. It's like on 8 Dawn, you have Katakuri or you kind of have nothing. This kind of now is like you can play Katakuri or Kid, both really strong options, do something a little bit different. I like that a lot about it.
I feel like this could just replace 7 Mom and decks, to be honest.
Oh,
It's just-
absolutely.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
s-
going to give you the option anymore. And
I
then,
still
I cycle
like
a
the
card out of my hand
trash.
every turn.
Yeah, that part is insane. I still don't like the fact that it's just trash a card. Feels bad.
Yeah, no, it feels horrendous, but I guess
Yeah.
Bandai felt Yellow needed it.
Yeah.
it's just
The counter to yellow is yellow.
because we didn't really talk
Oh,
much
they
about
always
it.
do
He does
that.
also just have a cycle built into him. I don't think anybody's really addressed that whatsoever. He's fixing hands
Well,
just the entire time he's on the board.
Well, not the entire time. So this is the thing I feel is that you're playing yellow, so to some effects, I feel like kind of how we were talking about before, where you're playing Katakuris, you're playing certain stuff. Oh wait, my bad. I thought it said yours. It's your opponent. My bad.
Yep.
Forget everything I just said.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just fixing your hand once he hits board.
Oh, bro, you get 2 of these motherfuckers on board, you're drawing 2, trashing 2 every turn.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is a really good card. This is a very good card. You're going to have access to a massive blocker, and you're fixing your hand as the game goes on top of being a 5-life leader to begin with. This is going to be a very annoying leader, I think. I'm very...
Absolutely.
Surely at his worst, he's mid, right? Surely at his worst, he's useless captain mid. I can't picture this leader
Don't worry
being
about
bad.
it though.
At his
don't worry
worst,
about
he's
it,
still
Chris.
getting like top 64s.
Yeah, like, I can't picture him being any worse than mid. I think this is...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry about it, Chris, because all of the fans are going to let you know whether you're right or wrong, anyways.
True.
That is true. I
No,
could be
not
right and
true.
they'll still
They're
tell me
gonna
I'm
let you
wrong.
know that you're wrong, and they're gonna let you know why they're wrong, and it's gonna be a hot take.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, you're wrong because you could play this card in Vegapunk.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you put blockers if I'm playing Nami, stupid.
Which blows my mind also, because Vegapunk.
Oh my god, this card against Nami is just like on play, rip a life. On play,
Yeah.
rip a life.
So moving on to our next card, we have Basil Hawkins, yellow character, 4 cost 5,000 power slash, 1,000 counter, Supernova, and Hawkins Pirates. On KO, trash up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life. Trigger, draw 2 cards, and discard 1 card from your hand. This card's fucking
Can we talk
stupid.
about how fucking
This card's
unfair this
amazing.
card is?
This card is fucking
This card's
stupid.
great.
Oh my god, I don't know
So,
what they were thinking. with this.
Basically, this card reads 4-drop 5k blocker on KO, trash 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards.
Yes.
Can we
Yep.
talk about how stupid this card is?
You know, like, and the fact it's on KO, it's not even like, regardless of how he leaves the board, literally if one of these is just on your board, if your opponent, say your opponent's just on 2 life on turn 4, and you play the 8-drop kid, you rip their life, they're on 1, and then you restand, and then you use your leader ability and turn this to a blocker. Just like that, your opponent has gone from 2 life to 0,
Yep.
and on the following turn, they are staring down a 9k kid in addition to a leader. Like,
Now,
oh my
the
god.
only thing,
Uh-huh.
the only thing I'll say is you probably do this once per game. Reason being on 4 Dawn when you play it, you can't do leader effect on it, so it's a little bit slow. That's great. On 6 Dawn, then you can attack with it and restand it. It gets that blocker. But then by 8 Dawn, you're playing the 8-drop kid. So I will say, at most, like on Perfect Curve, you are playing this once per game, but it's still fucking disgusting.
Well,
I
I'm
think you
still-
only needed to resolve once.
Absolutely. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, it's a great card. Like, even in late game, it's still going to be a good card to, like, top deck, right? If you don't have 8-drop kid, something like that.
Yeah.
Still, even as getting this off once per game is still disgusting.
Also, on the topic of top decking, 8-drop kid, I think he becomes the best top decking leader in the game at this point now, because he's always topping up blocker. Which is crazy
Yeah.
to think about.
Essentially, yeah.
Well, no, because the blocker can't be used that turn. That's the thing. Like, yeah, every card he can get becomes a blocker. It's not that he draws a blocker. Because
he has to restand it, right?
yeah, he
Yeah.
has to restand it. So it's
That's
not
true.
like, oh
That's
shit,
true.
I need a blocker. Draw. Oh, it's a blocker. No,
Very
it's
valid
I
point.
draw, play it, and then I have to wait till next turn at least for it to be a blocker. Now,
So the only
granted,
part of
Hawkins just
his
makes it
effect
safe.
that is-
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. The only part of Kid's effect that is mandatory is the flipping of a life. I think if the character is active, you probably will make it.
Well, I guess we'll just have to see on that. But if
Yeah.
that is the case, where as long as I can flip the life up, I can still target a character and it gains blocker,
I don't
then
thi-
yeah, he's cracked.
I-
But if I have to take it for what I see here, it has to be the one that restands.
From what the way I also, and they are fan translations, so they could be wrong, but from the way I'm reading it, the card that is getting the blocker is the card that restood. So I think if you don't restand anything, then that card isn't. There's no card to be designated as a blocker at that point. I think it's kind of
Exactly.
like
It's kind of like if you don't have a target to restand, then you never have a target to give blocker.
Hey,
yeah.
on this subject, I do want to point out, with that law, the law leader, it is confirmed that you can reveal a card that's already revealed. I just
Okay.
looked at it. The 2-drop, Luffy, Sabo, and Ace, they say reveal the top card of your life.
All
Oh, that
true.
one confirms
Yep.
it then, yeah.
Yeah, so that's confirmed.
That's good.
Yes.
This Hawkins
Alright, I think
is fucking
You
insane.
do have
This Hawkins,
Uh,
I think
it's absolutely balls.
literally the fact that like once your opponent is there is time and time again when you're playing One Piece and you are on 1 life and your opponent has 1 character on the board, there are situations where you can remove the 1 character on the board and now your opponent cannot kill you, because unless they have access to rush, the worst they can do is put you on 0. This this Hawkins existing now puts your opponent in a predicament where it's like, I have to have the counter to get out of leader swing and the Hawkins swing, because I can't deal with the Hawkins, because if I do, I lose the life regardless. So
See, me as a blue player, I don't care about that because I got law, right, Nick?
But
Because law just bounces this.
I think the only dirtier thing that they could have done with this card is make the trigger play this card, which would have been
Oh,
disgusting.
bro, I would have, bro. If the trigger was playing this card, I'd be like, okay, he's cracked.
Just
But-
imagine getting that turned on. But it still has an amazing trigger. Draw 2,
does.
discard 1. It's a
Yeah.
mini Shirahoshi trigger. Freaking. Ugh. Draw
It's
2,
a-
discard 1 is always a great trigger.
this is a it's I don't know. This card. This effect.
Both of these kid cards are disgusting. Both the
Yes.
Hawkins and the 8-drop kid. There's actually a 4-cost yellow kid event we skipped over. Go back to
Oh yeah. There's
a yellow
there's a kid
4-cost
event.
Damned
Oh,
punk
okay.
electromagnetic
Alright,
cannon.
well, I guess. Hawkins having an effect this strong on top of having counter is fucking stupid to me. This is
Yeah, no, I think they should have. Like, he has a Shirahoshi trigger. He had, or not Shirahoshi, but draw 3
Mini
trash two.
Shiroshi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he sells counter. He shouldn't have counter.
Not at all.
There just should never be a point in the game where a blocker, because in the deck he's intended for, he's a blocker. There should never be a point in the game where a blocker says, "If I die, you are." It would have been more balanced if he was like, "If I die, you heal," or something. He should not be ripping a life off of you because he died. That is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
At any
I
point,
bet they're gonna get their own what's her name? Yellow that on KO heals life.
I'm thinking yellow will, at this rate, since we're getting 2 leaders, I'm guessing they're gonna get a Supernova Searcher at some point during this set.
I have to imagine. This is oh my god, this is really, 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 really dumb. This is a
Yeah,
And
I can
this
see
is-
them getting a yellow Kikunojo or something that heals on KO as well.
God, I think Kikunojo, this card makes Kikunojo look so balanced. The dumbest part about Kikunojo still affects she cheats herself out of life, but what they do while they're on the board, Kikunojo, like, there's a lot of times where I'll kill her, I just don't care. It's like, that's inconsequential. I'm so ahead, you having that life won't make any difference. In the event I even have to go for it. In the event I'm even in a position where I do have to go for it. But also, that is something that you don't even get the privilege of with Hawkins. There's never a situation where you have to go for Hawkins, because whether you ignore him or you go for him, it is the same outcome. You're literally actually better off leaving him on the board and just hoping you pick up the counter out of life to get out of both swings. That is...
Yeah, honestly.
That's really, really fucking bad. That is actually hope to hit a lucky trigger or pick up a card out of life or something. This is stupid. This is actually this is really stupid. There should have been a
another
requirement.
generic yellow card. He doesn't require any Supernova leaders. You can play this card in anything. It's going to be best in Kid. But if you just want to have a body that sticks no matter what, then you can put this into any yellow deck, really.
Yeah. I like right underneath that how it says, appears from your life due to the effect of your leader, Law.
Yeah, law.
Yep.
This is okay. So I guess moving on to the final Kid card, we have Damned Punk Electromagnetic Cannon, yellow event, 4 cost, Supernova Kid Pirates. Main, look at up to 1 card from the top of you or your opponent's life and place it at the top or bottom of the life. Then KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Trigger, draw 2 cards, and discard 1 card.
Yep, so they got their own 3,000, or they got reject back essentially without the, hey, I'm just going to take a life off of you with reject.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's even worth
Yeah.
comparing to, because when reject is uttered, people think of the effect that got it banned.
True.
This is all. This
Yeah, but
is
they just
them
do
just
other
getting
cards.
back the removal that they're supposed to have.
I think this is
Yeah.
kind of like what's the one blue event that's like this? What, 3,000
3,000
worlds?
worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a 3,000 worlds.
Jet pistol.
But I will say significantly
Yeah,
worse
Jet Pistol.
because it has KO on it.
Yeah.
Well, worse or like you don't bottom deck, but you kill 1 higher, and then you also get to
No,
look at your
3,000
life
worlds is the
/ your
5.
opponent's life.
Yeah, 3,000
Yeah,
worlds.
oh,
is
okay.
five.
yeah.
But
Oh, does it
3,000
not?
worlds
Okay.
gets around a lot of niche shit like Borsalino,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Sabo.
And this.
Well,
and
God
on-
forbid blue can have something. All right,
Even-
like
No, right.
Jesus.
Well, that's what I'm
Yellow
saying.
wants to have everything.
Well,
Yeah.
that's all I mean. Is this is just a significantly worse 3,000 worlds, but still a version. Like it's their
It's
version.
why
of it.
I
Yeah.
say I think this card is essentially Jet Pistol. You know.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's Jet Pistol. And the reason I say Jet Pistol too is because like there's Finger Pistol, but Finger Pistol is in a color that can lure things into the range. Jet Pistol can kind of do that, but it's banking on other cards that lower by 2k at most, where like Finger Pistol has access to like Ice Age. So I think the best comparison this card does have would be something like
Jet pistol.
Jet Pistol, yeah. Yeah, I also do
God,
like the
it-
triggers
it's
they're giving
still-
them now, just fixing hand instead of fucking cheating Dawn. I hated that shit so much.
Yeah.
Cheating
It's
bodies
funny
on
to
life
me-
and shit. What?
It's funny to me looking at the state of the game now, looking at cards like this, and remembering that like high-end games were won or lost based on like jet pistols out of life.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
Bro, don't you get I still have
Donning
PTSD
up
about
your
that.
donning up your blocker so that it doesn't
Yo.
die the trigger.
Jet pistol.
Shit used to be amazing, dude.
I don't think that's cards he's play.
Yo, remember bluffing counters?
I don't think so either. I think it's one of those where like, yeah, I was gonna say like based on the state of the meta, but honestly, shit is just so diverse right now that it's you either run it or you don't, and I just don't think you run it. Because also on 4 Dawn, I'm putting a body on the board.
Yeah, the game has just kind of gotten to the point where events, for the most part, don't see play unless they do something very, 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 very strong.
Yep.
And all the 4-cost removal events don't see play except for one, and even that one didn't see play for the longest time, and it only sees play now because of a very specific matchup, and that's Finger Pistol into Bonnie. Because if not for
The only
Bonnie, Lucci wouldn't play it either. What up?
The only events that are like seeing play are kind of 1-cost events, the 0-cost events, obviously, that are
yeah.
like the 3Ks, but also then the blue ones that get around on KO, like Gravity Blade is still a great card because it
Yeah.
gets around KO but removes 2 bodies. Like, an event has to give such a net positive for you to warrant not placing a good body on the board instead of it.
I think the event has to essentially be like, it has to basically like have the potential to be game winning.
Yes.
Like Red Rock can blow out some games, Gravity Blade can blow out games, cards like Amaru and stuff like that just like tap up blockers you can go for game, a Diable
Yep.
Jambe. I don't think there's ever like an instance where like playing a like a Jet Pistol on curve is like it's decided the game, you know. Jet Pistol, the only time
Yeah.
Jet Pistol won games was
A
off
trigger out of
trigger.
life.
Yeah.
And that was pre-yellow.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think the game. I don't think 4-cost removal is ever doing 4-cost, especially too with the power creep. We've gotten to the point where like for 4 Dawn, you can usually like remove a body and establish one at the same time. So you know, like Lucci, for example. I guess with that being said, then until next time, we'll see you guys.
Bye bye.
Later.
Goodbye.